Hello everyone, welcome to Warlock Sanctum's Character Creation Forge, a series where we learn to build character sheets for players in a variety of systems. I am the host today, Matthew Pose, and I am by myself, and today we're going to cover the Chronicles of Darkness. The Chronicles of Darkness is a setting released by Onyx Path, and it spawns off into a number of game lines from Vampire, Mage, Werewolf, but most of them start the same with the very basics of a mortal. So, looking at the mortal character sheet today, we have downloaded this from Mr. Gons. He has a variety of editable interactive player sheets, and we're going to go through the basics of making it. So, we're going to start with a concept, which is always a good idea, and we're going to go with a chef. The chef owns a business, makes his life cooking and hosting his staff. So the first thing we're going to do is look at attributes. You can see they're broken into three categories. We got our mental, our physical, and our social. We pick a primary, secondary, and tertiary for what the character's good at. For a chef, we're going to start with, he is probably very methodical, thinks quickly, so we're going to give him his mental as his primary. So our primary gets 5 extra dots on the starting one, our secondary 4, and our tertiary 3. So we're probably going to just follow the line here of intellect, so mental, then physical, then social. So he probably has a great deal going through these. Intellect is like book smarts and knowledge, your ability to pick up and retain information. Wits is your ability to react quickly, think quickly, and act on your feet. And resolve is determination. So with those in mind, we're going to give him a intelligence of 2, so human average. He's pretty good at remembering things. A wits of 3, he is used to working in a fast-paced environment. And a resolve of 3, meaning he's predetermined when he sets his mind to something. Second, we're going to look at our physical attributes. There's strength, which is physical might, dexterity, which is manual movements, both agility and fine-tuning dexterity with your hands, and stamina, which is your overall endurance. Since it's our secondary, we're going to get 4 dots. Now, as a chef, I imagine he's fairly dexterous with his hands, so we're going to start with 3 in that. We're going to start with 3 in stamina, because working in kitchens is no easy task and can take a lot of endurance doing that all day. But that leaves us with a strength of 1, so probably not as strong as the average person, but I'm sure that doesn't hold him back. And last is going to be our social attributes, which is presence, your ability to be likable, out there, outgoing, manipulation, convince people to do what you want, and composure, the ability to hide how you're feeling and keeping your emotions in check. I like the stereotypical angry chef, so we're going to go with just a single composure. He's going to be fairly friendly, we're going to give him a decent presence, and he can get people to do what he wants as well as anyone else. With that step out of the way, we move down to our skills. As you can see, they are also broken down to our mental, physical, and social. We will once again choose a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary group. I think we'll work in reverse this time. I'm going to start with my tertiary. That gives us 4 skill dots. As a quick note and reference, you'll notice unskilled, so 0 dots, creates a dice penalty for how the pool works. So we have to keep that in mind. Anything we don't have in, they are going to struggle with. So I imagine as a chef, probably athletic enough, we'll give him 2 dots. A lot of long hours working in the kitchen, moving around. I don't see him being much of a fighter, or any kind of specialty in driving or guns or larency. Stealth, being able to move around quietly, maybe a bit, just to give him something to kind of even out. And survival, he can cook, so he can probably get a hand on anything out in the wild and survive a little bit. Next, we'll go to our secondary, which we're going to make mental. Now, I'd imagine crafts would be important, making stuff with your hands. As a chef, you're doing that all day. So we're going to give him 3. I forgot to mention our secondary skills get 7 dots to work with. So looking around, you can also see the unskilled mental dots have a much higher penalty. So he'll probably have some academics, some book study, learning Computers, maybe a single dot. Living in modern day, most people have at least a small grasp on how computers work. Crafts, as we said, his cooking skill, we're giving him at least 3. We may go back to that. Investigation, probably not so good at finding clues on a crime scene for this particular character. Medicine, probably picked up first aid here and there, but nothing trained. Occult, well, could be an interesting spin to this character. Occult is understanding the supernatural and myths and stuff like that. Maybe it's a side hobby of his. We're going to give him 2 dots in that. Politics is knowing people on the scene. So someone who works as a chef, knowing other chefs, knowing renowned articles. I'm sure this chef, although should care about it, he's not going to. Now I've noticed we've given us an extra dot, so I'm going to take 1 out of computers. And then there's science, covering biology, physics, etc. Everything academia doesn't cover. And then we're going to go down to our primary, social. Now we're just going to go through quickly. Animal ken is understanding animals. Empathy is reading other people and their feelings, sometimes telling if people are lying. Expression is getting people to understand what you're saying. I imagine working in a kitchen, that's going to be important, especially if he has a staff. Intimidation, the ability to get people to listen. We've already said he's an angry chef. He's used to using this to get people to do what he wants. We're going to throw some in there. Persuasion, talking it out, working with people, making deals. He at least works with customers. Socialize, being in a social environment, picking up, subtle cues or etiquette. Could be important for your business. Streetwise, this is living on the street, understanding how gang mentality works, etc. And subterfuge, the ability to lie as well as detect liars. We're going to give at least 1 dot in that. So our primary starts with 11 dots, and right now we're working with 9, so we got 2 more to work with. We're going to say he is quite good at expressing himself. He's good at talking around people, and he's fairly good at persuading compared to the average person. He makes a lot of deals himself and deals with such things. Next, we're going to go to merits. These are things that kind of flesh out the character, kind of giving him his almost a more flavor to it. But before we do that, we're going to do vice and virtue. Now that we've kind of fleshed out this topic, we have to figure out what his redeeming quality is. I'm going to say that this chef is kind. He tends to get along with people for the most part. He likes to help out when he can afford to. But I'm going to say his vice is wrath. When he is having a bad day, he vents far more than he should to the people around him. It's not a good coping mechanism, but that is his failing flaw, as it were. So back to merits. So there are a variety of merits found in the core book and among a number of other books. You should ask your GM if he's using anything outside the core or allowing supernatural merits, etc. Most of the merits I've picked out for this character are going to go with the concept we have of him owning a restaurant and being a chef. So he's going to have staff. These are a bunch of people he can call on. They work for him. And we're going to say he has 3 dots. He can fully staff a restaurant inside and out without him having to show up. Although he does like to cook, so he is going to be there. Second one we're going to give is resources. This is cash flow. So, although you could have a character who's very poor but good with their money and able to reflect that in having decent resources, or someone who's rich who has 0 resources, this is your cash flow. This is how much you can afford to spend on a daily basis or a chapter basis as the Chronicle of Darkness works. We're going to start him with 2. Next, we're going to give him fighting finesse. Although he is not a trained soldier of any kind, he does work with knives and other things all day based on the dexterity of his hands rather than his brute strength. And we're going to give him, that is a flat rate of 2 for fighting finesse. So when he's using knives and other things, he can rely on his dexterity rather than just relying on his less than average strength. Next up, we're going to give him meditative mind. Now, this merit can represent a lot of things, from just being good at ignoring distractions or being deep into meditative arts or yoga to give focus each day. This is more his ability to work in a chaotic environment of a kitchen, keep his head, and everything goes smoothly for him, at least his focus. So with that, we've made a good portion of the character that is our choice. The rest starts kicking in with certain modifiers till the end. So health. I'll start down here. Size. The average human size, if you don't take a merit to change it, is 5. Speed is your dex plus strength plus 5. So for our chef here, it's going to be 9. Defense is the lowest of our wits and dexterity plus athletics. Our chef here has wits and dexterity of both 3, so that's not going to matter, and athletics of 2, giving him a defense of 5. This is the pool that is subtracted from your opponent when they're trying to attack you usually. Armor, not wearing any. Initiative mod. This is your dex and composure. This is how well, when a fight breaks out, you're ready for a fight. As we can see, our chef here has a total of 4. His reaction time is not great. Beats and XP come up in game. Not important for character creation unless your GM is giving you extra XP to build a more powerful character. At which case, refer to the book or the game line that you're looking at for the cost of things. The general cost tends to be attributes worth 4, skills worth 2, and merits worth 1 for every dot you're buying up. So for example, to bring our athletics to 3, we'd spend 2 XP. To bring it to 4 from its 2, we'd need 8 XP. Merits sometimes have dots going up, sometimes they are simply a flat rate. Next, we're going to go up to health, which is our size plus stamina. We can see our size is 5, our stamina is 3, so our chef here has 8 health to work with, making him slightly better than average when having to take harm and keep going. Next is willpower. This is our reserve to push forward, and it is a combination of our resolve, our determination, and composure, our emotional bastion. As we can see, our chef has 4. Willpower is often restored from our vice and virtue, as well as some game lines allow a good night's rest to restore 1. Last, we have our integrity, how mentally put together this person is. The default integrity starts at 7, giving us a total of a starting integrity of 7. As you can see, this sheet sometimes overlaps, so you gotta be really careful. And then the last step to character creation is aspirations. You may want to talk to your storyteller first about this, depending on the direction of the chronicle. Aspirations change over time, and it's basically either player or character goals that you're looking for. I prefer my players to have 2 short-term and 1 long-term goals, but these could change from game to game as necessary and as the story takes us. So right now, before discovering the Chronicle of Darkness is a hellhole of dark things that go bump in the night that are going to break your mind. Our chef's current goal is to be the best known restaurant in town. Second will be to show off his cooking skills. Just a feel-good moment. And as the player, I want to see this guy explode and it blow back in his face. So we're going to put a falling out due to his anger. Alright guys, and with that we have a starting character. Depending on your storyteller, he may let you buy a little bit of equipment before starting, or you could be thrown right into the mess unprepared, hoping for the best. I hope this has been helpful, and I will leave a link to this character, I hope, as well as a link to Mr. Gone where you can find it yourself. So with that, I'm Matthew Pose of Warlock Sanctum Games. You can find me at startplaying.games as a paid GM, and I hope this has been helpful for everyone. I hope the rest of your day is wonderful. Bye for now.